Take your position. The show is about to start.
Ladies and gentlemen,
welcome to On Screen, where we discuss all things cinema all the time. Here's your hosts.
the award goes to
Joe Brunett, Joe Cuffney, and Jesse Reichenstein. Lights, camera, action.
All right. This week we're talking about the Christopher Guest film For Your Consideration.
Could I have your name, please?
Hack, Marilyn Hack, stage 11.
You were in that prison movie where you punched that little girl in the face.
No.
Marilyn Hack made quite the splash for her portrayal of Imogene, the blind prostitute. And you know what they say about blind prostitutes? You really have to hand it to them. We can cut that out. I don't know where I got that.
I'm your agent. There is nothing more important to me in my life than you. Excuse me.
Victor Allen Miller, the venerable Broadway veteran best known as Irv the Footlong Wiener, now starring in the Sunfish Classics feature, Home for Purim. Where the heck have you been?
Oh, aren't you nice? Well, actually, I've been teaching in...
Well, that's a rhetorical question.
And action.
What kind of girl doesn't want to meet a nice fella?
I did meet a nice fella. Her name is Mary Pat.
Or am I just going Miss Sugar?
Mama! And cut.
I want you to add something from the bottom of your womanhood to make it a...
Tone some of the themes down a little bit.
How would that be?
Just tone down the Jewishness so everyone can enjoy it.
But no.
Oh, jeez.
What does a producer do? Lots of paying for sometimes ridiculous things like snacks.
Apparently there's something on the internet. Somebody brought up the idea of there being a possibility for an Oscar.
For Home for Purim?
The internet. That's the one with email, right?
Yes.
I think you're looking at an Academy Award nomination also.
Did he just say what I thought he said?
What?
Yes, Victor!
Oscars. I smell Oscars.
You see what a little buzz can do in this town?
I predicted it. I said this is the one. This is the vehicle.
Morley, you told me not to do it.
I hope you like it as much as we like doing it.
Someone's killed their children and made them into cookies, and I want to go see that.
Uh-huh. Follow me around in circles. Your mama's station in the glove. And we stop. You're Debbie. You're Brian.
He's just close from the A-list.
In every actor, there lives a tiger, a pig, an ass, and a nightingale. You never know which one's going to show up.
Hooray for Hollywood! Hooray for Hollywood!
This was just like a random pick for me because I was looking up Thanksgiving movies and I was like, there's not that many of them.
Yeah,
and
this was like a stretch.
Yeah, I was like, I don't really know that I would consider this a Thanksgiving movie.
Hey, there was some Thanksgiving themes in it.
Yeah, I mean, I get why it's on those lists. It's just there's so little movies that I feel like anything with like a mention of Thanksgiving, it's like, it's a Thanksgiving movie.
I think I was more about it because I loved Best in Show. I thought that was so funny. That was like my Christopher Guest kind of intro film. And this was the follow-up to it, right? Because it was 2006. And Best in Show was for a little earlier, I think. Maybe 99 or something.
It was late 90s. But like they did ones in between, I'm assuming.
Did they?
Well, there's like Waiting for Guffman. I don't know when these years are though. There's like a handful of them. I have no clue what order or years they came out.
I haven't really seen them either, like any of the other ones. This is the other one I've seen. I really had no knowledge of this movie, other than it was somewhat of a Thanksgiving movie.
It's a Thanksgiving classic.
It was very Christopher Guest, which I appreciated. I think I'm starting to get to enjoy that humor a little more because of, especially for this movie, Fred Willard is hysterical in this movie.
He's so good, and he also looks younger in this.
Yeah,
the whole cast in this movie is just like, it's so good.
Yeah,
they have everyone.
You guys haven't seen this, right? Before?
No,
I hadn't
this
seen
is new
it
for all of us. Okay, well, so let's start out. What do you guys thought? Like, what would you think about it?
My initial thought on this was just like I feel like there's a lot of movies about making movies.
Yeah.
And that's not my favorite genre. It's like super meta, and it always feels to me like the people who are making the movie are just like very into their own world kind of thing.
Right.
But this cast was hilarious, and there was definitely a lot of really funny parts to it. So like, I wouldn't say it's like my favorite genre or even my favorite like movie by any stretch, but like it was good. Like I enjoyed it. It was funny. There's a handful of times that I felt like it was like that type of humor that just like talks like a little bit too long, which sometimes makes me uncomfortable. But I know like that's just some people's jam. Like I know Jesse loves that stuff. So
it's my jam. It's
Yeah.
my jam. I loved this. It's not up there in my like, I don't think it's the best Christopher Guest movie, and I think Best in Show is so much funnier.
Mhm.
But I mean, with that cast, it's just like such a blast. And like I say with like movies where I'm like, they just make worlds that I want to live in.
Yeah.
And like, so it's just, I went into, knowing Christopher Guest, you just like, you kind of know what you're expecting if you've seen anything else.
Mhm.
And I mean, also like we mentioned this, I think when you picked it and we were looking through the cast, some fun like John Krasinski little cameo role, Steve Renazizi, the guard, some other actors
I
popping in there.
appreciated that.
Yeah, that was cool.
But like, I mean, yeah, the cast amazing. Jennifer Coolidge,
Oh my
so
God.
funny. I mean, she's just the best. Ever since too, like she was so good in White Lotus recently on HBO that like every time I now go back and watch anything with her, it just kills me.
Mhm.
And then with Catherine O'Hara's been around a lot because recently with the Home Alone remake coming out, because she was the mom in Home Alone, so she's like, been popping up again.
I did not piece that together until I watched this movie. I didn't know that was like the same person.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah, no, I had no idea.
He's in like a new commercial with like Kevin Hart, about like, but you left Kevin home before, like, this like old play on that. But the cast is amazing, and my like favorite part was when they show like them doing press after the movie when they think there's Oscar buzz, and like the way all of them like dress, and like Catherine O'Hara's like face and how she dresses for the late night, and like how they all handle that, like the guy who like like was trying to turn down the radio commercials or whatever, like that actor, like how they all handled the like press and trying to be cool was hilarious to me. And I'm so like nostalgic for like Late Night with Dave Letterman, that talk show obviously was like very after that. We're just like late night around that time, but it was so good. I mean, again, it's like this like weird self-aware making fun of themselves outside of the movie as well. But yeah, them doing press was my favorite part.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. Yeah, I think I agree. This isn't as good as Best in Show. I think that was better. And I think, but I still had fun with this. I mean, like you said, the cast is just, you can't not have fun with these people. Like if the cast was different, I don't think it would be as good. It wouldn't be a great movie, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't, and if it wasn't Christopher Guest, this wouldn't be, I don't think it would be a good movie. But like, just because like everyone in it, and like you said, what you're going to get. And I think for me, one of my favorite, I had a couple of favorite scenes, but where was it? Oh, the one where they, the poster scene is like when they're talking about the poster and they're showing all the different posters. I love that because I always talk about how I want to make a horror movie, but market it as a comedy. And I feel like that's what they're doing in that scene. They're like, oh, this looks like a horror film, or, like with the heads on the plates. And I thought that was so funny.
The first, of course, is a sort of Norman Rockwell. It's America. It's the family eating. You have the title in the Hebraic letters.
All right, well, my first instinct says it reminds me of my family. And I hate my family. And I think a lot of people might feel that way.
I think that's such a fascinating take on what we've done, because we've gotten away from the family and we make it this.
Man, that one is scary. You got disembodied heads.
You know what I like? I like when it's misleading in a good way. This looks like a horror film.
It's horrifying, but it's horrifying like a horror movie.
Someone's killed their children and made them into cookies, and I want to go see that.
Okay. This was also trying to be a kind of family kind of presentation, kind of a comedy thing. But
what's particularly creepy about this one is how y'all made it where they eyes follow you. That's scary.
Isn't that
Everywhere
wonderful?
you go, they follow you.
Is that funny?
No, actually, you actually do want that in a poster, because when you set the posters out there in the theater, as people walk by them, you want that. You actually do want that.
You make a
feeling.
connection.
I'm really glad that you.
That's what we're trying to do with both the visual and maybe even something with the eyes. And of course, this is just a gay romp. It's a party. It's fun.
But you also
what's
see the
good about
wistfulness.
this is it's real. It's very real. I've been to a party before where people's heads were actually on the balloon.
And is that something?
Hey, I want to go to this party. This is a party I would go to.
Okay, great.
Because it's got balloons with different colors.
Something I wish that they did. So there was like the scene where they met the guys. I think it was Ricky Gervais. I think his character and the other guy, the guys with the suits, when they came on set and they were like handshaking everybody and they're like meeting everyone. I just wish that kept going. Like the different crew members would come back and be like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" Like for like 10 minutes. I just wish that was like ongoing. Like I think I agree with Jesse. I wish there were more things that were ongoing. I think it was just like, I wish more things were lingering. And I know, Joe, you don't like that.
But yeah, like I get that people like that sometimes.
I think it's funny. I'm about that. But I do think my one thing about this is I wish Eugene Levy and the guy who played Victor, I wish they reversed their roles. Like I wish Eugene Levy was playing Catherine O'Hara's husband in the movie. Like, I wish he was the actor and the guy who played the actor was the agent, just because I feel like I would have rather seen Eugene Levy more of a main role in this, and him and Catherine O'Hara together are just so funny. So I wish that was reversed. But yeah, overall it's great. And Fred Willard and Jane Lynch together are so freaking funny. I just,
good.
This little part where they're playing like the Lost and Found segment when Fred Willard's dressed up as Sherlock Holmes, and there's like a really, really subtle thing he does where he like raises the glass up, but it's like his cheek. It's not even up to his eye. Like things like that. And I think that Christopher Guest is just like, do it. Like here's the idea. Here's the general idea of the scene. Like do something. And I think that's so funny.
I was curious if like you knew, like Best in Show was like a 16-page script or something. And it's like so much of it was improv and just like first takes even. They just nailed it.
Yeah.
I was like, is that just how all of his movies were? He just was like, here's an outline, we'll wing it.
Well, I read the trivia fact on IMDb. It says, as with all Christopher Guest films, very little of this movie has a detailed script. Christopher Guest generally writes on an outline so that the actors know what needs to happen in the scene. And then they do a maximum of 2 or 3 takes and no rehearsals prior to filming.
Yeah,
so.
that's
I did read that a lot of this was like generally improvised, which with this cast makes perfect sense.
I also thought the scene, this is like a little later, but when they all like after they don't win the Oscar or not even nominated for an Oscar except for that one guy, but they all kind of just like go and to hiding or whatever, and Fred Willard's doing the interviews.
Oh yeah.
It's so freaking funny. Oh, I think that's my all-time favorite scene of this whole movie.
Wrong house.
No, the right house.
I didn't get
We want to talk to Marilyn Heck.
nominated.
Marilyn Heck and Trash. What a juxtaposition. We know that. And what happened? But the important thing is people, if you get close to being nominated, that's what it's all about.
It's all right. It's a big tease, because 4 out of 5 of those girls are gonna lose big time.
Can I ask you?
Way worse than me today. I didn't even get nominated. I'm not gonna lose.
What happened? But what happened?
I'm not gonna lose. How can I think I'm gonna win if I'm not nominated?
That's what I mean. You came this close to being nominated. I don't think you could have done that.
I'm gonna go to France.
What for?
How'd the French girl get in?
Oh, well, that French movie drives me nuts with the writing on the screen.
But that's French.
I always think it's late-breaking news.
French. It's not legal.
Helen and Trash. What a juxtaposition.
Yeah.
Lost my mind. And then he says French movie with the writing on the screen. The subtitles.
I did really like that part, actually. I think I agree. That was one of the funnier parts.
And he looks like a high schooler. He's got the mohawk and he's like the hat and everything.
I think the thing about Fred Willard that just like it's like he just always has this like really like smirky kind of smile on that like I just can't take him seriously, even if you know what I mean. But I also can't tell if he's being serious sometimes.
Right.
You know?
I mean, anything he was in, he could come in the last like 10 minutes and steal the show.
Yeah.
You know, like even in Best in Show, he wasn't in it till the end. And like, it's what most people remember.
Right. Man.
Even like when he would like, I don't know if you guys would watch Modern Family ever. I watched it in the beginning. I feel like it's still going. I have no clue. But like how Fred Willard played Phil's dad. And it was like the same thing. Like, I feel like any episode where he'd come in, he's just like, oh yeah, this guy's the star, you know, like.
Right.
Yeah.
No, he's too good. He's like, yeah, I want to see like a doc about him. That would be fascinating.
It'd be really interesting.
It would be a good time because obviously he just passed, but that'd be, the guy with the mustache, was his name Corey? Who's the actor? Was that, he was like the, gosh, hold on. I'm going to look this up because this is going to really, one sec. Okay. So Corey he was like the guy who was in charge of everything. John Michael Higgins. He was the guy who in Best in Show, he was like, Scott, the guy with the, oh God, I don't know. But he reminded me of Joe. He reminded me of you because he said there was a scene where, I think he was the one who told Catherine O'Hara about the Oscar, the article. Oh no, sorry, that was the DP. But there was a different guy after that conversation. And he basically said, Catherine O'Hara talks to him. And he's like, I think I'm nominated for an Oscar. Like there's a couple articles out there. And he goes, that's a rumor. If there's a rumor on the internet, I'm going to look into it. Like basically he heard something and he's going to dive really deep into it. And I was like, that reminded me of Joe.
Yeah.
Because Joe would do that. And he's like, this is one thing. I'm going to look into it.
Just put on the blinders and just like dive straight in, you know?
I feel like you'd be a good detective for that reason.
Ooh.
Who's to say I'm not, right?
That's true. You could be one. But yeah, it's just fun. It's like a fun movie. And I think it was Jennifer Coolidge. She said, I wish I could jump cut you. A little good editing joke right there. I appreciated that.
So meta.
It's so meta.
Stuff. Like her interview when they don't ask her anything. It's so clear that they're not going to use any of it. You know, and then she's like, yeah, I think we're done. She's like, what? And then she's like, can you guys not film? I don't want to have anyone recognize me from the back. So, and they're like, don't worry, camera's off. We're not rolling.
Yeah. That was hilarious. It was a little different role for her. I feel like it wasn't the typical Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah, well, her roles are kind of just like crazy rich lady out of her mind in general.
Yeah, that's true. Something else that got me was the lip injections.
Yeah,
Helen, that was hysterical. And it's clearly done poorly because she.
Well, that's what I love on any like that whole deal with them like doing the press and stuff, just all that, and like her face when she like was going on the late show, you know, it's just like.
It is interesting to see like thinking about actors like before they're kind of hit their famous, like before they're famous, essentially before they've hit their main role. Like this is kind of like a movie about that in a way, because like everyone's trying to get the status of like Academy Awards, and I feel like a lot of people aren't known until they maybe get recognition for something. So it's kind of funny to see, like, I mean, you know, all these famous actors like obviously started somewhere. It's always fun to go back and watch them in their, you know, older roles. Like I always think of like Jennifer Aniston and like the Leprechaun movie. It's so funny to see her in that movie. And that was like one of her first movies. I don't know. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember if I brought this up before, but when Succession was starting and like people were going around, so Alan Ruck was on a podcast, who is, you know, Cam from Ferris Bueller's. And like he was even saying like after that, you know, it was like a huge role, but he couldn't book work for a while after that. And so like he went from like this huge smash hit to like he like had to work, like go to like a temp agency in LA and got a job at some like Sears warehouse, and was just like
Really?
working. Yeah. And he's just like hoping that no one will recognize him.
How could he not get a job after that?
He said he had a really hard time getting casted after that. I think it was like a lot of it was like typecasting, or people just didn't think he could like fit certain roles. And so like he had like a drought for a couple years. Like he said he like came out to do like pilot season in LA, and he like had just had a kid or something, and just like did not land anything and couldn't book anything. And so he was like working at like a Sears warehouse like for like a few months or something. And then so he had a little drought before he like started booking stuff again. But like crazy that you can go from like, huge recognition to just like, I need more money. Like I don't have a job anymore.
Right. It's fascinating to see like, I feel like it's a good time right now to be in that position, because I feel like, I don't know if it's the time now or if it's always been like that. I just haven't noticed, but I feel like a lot of shows and movies are bringing back older actors who used to, like Devon Sawa's and a lot of stuff. I mean, he was always in things, but like, he was obviously he started out with Little Giants. He was like junior, and he was in like the Final Destination films, but he's in like the new Chucky series. Like there's like older actors like that who I think they're bringing back, even with like, I'm trying to think of an example. Like, I don't know, but I feel like I'm seeing a lot, especially in horror. Like, I don't know if it's like a thing, like people like the nostalgia factor is still a thing right now. I don't know. Like people see a credit they haven't seen in a while. Like I feel like if someone saw like Alan Ruck, like in Succession, like you see his name, you're like, oh, I forgot about Alan Ruck, but I want to watch it because he's in it. Like I feel like that's like a thing.
Yeah, there's definitely with millennials been I don't know if this happens every generation, but like a big nostalgic factor. If like once millennials got to the oldest millennials got to the age where they were kind of in these like leadership roles of places, you started seeing like, like Bill Nye had to come back.
Right. Exactly.
And like that bits because like millennials kind of grew up on it. And then like there's a bunch of like, like late 90s, like food coming back now as like trends. And like there's a huge like nostalgic factor coming back. And I've never thought about it before, but yeah, with like acting.
I mean, Saved by the Bell, the new series, like it's about their kids, but obviously there's scenes in the show with the older cast, and they kind of do callbacks. Like that's it. I feel like a good word for the time right now is like callback nostalgia. Like even Halloween.
That's kind of always been true. Like if you think of like what goes into like deciding like the like blockbuster movie of the summer, it's usually like based on something people already know, like a comic book or a book, or a movie that's already been made, or like like it's. I feel like it's a formula. It's like very well worn in the movie industry.
Totally. I feel like it might just be more prominent for me now. I don't know. I'm just like, it has always been a thing. You're totally right.
People like what's familiar, and like the nostalgia totally like just hits on that.
I mean, if you go back to like the 40s and 30s, like even like, I feel like what started the whole cinematic universes was the Universal Monsters movies. I mean, they had Dracula, Wolfman. They literally had cameos in each other's movies. I feel like it's so crazy to like see that. Like they had werewolf, like Wolfman versus, Son of Frankenstein, all this other random stuff, but they would always bring back the actors and like the characters. It has totally been around. That's so true. But I feel like right now we're in there's a lot going on right now with that, especially with like sequels and prequels to the originals and all this other stuff. Like that's a big thing, which I'm okay with. It's just, I don't want it to be overdone. Like we'll see. But anyway, going back to the movie. I don't know. I mean, there's really not much more. I mean, it is what it is. And I think what I like about the Christopher Guest movies is like, there's no like intense drama. It's just a story about these people. Like sometimes in movies, I hate the predictability of like, oh, these people are gonna, it starts out and you're like, oh, they're probably gonna have a fallout at some point. These two people are gonna have a fallout and then they're gonna fight and they're gonna get back together. It's just like so predictable. But with these movies, it's just like, it is what it is. Like it's life. It's great.
Christopher Guest movies always end, and I go, wait, what? That's the ending?
One.
Wait, we're done?
This one especially just ended.
It just ended, and I was like, wait, it's over?
I kind of appreciate that though. I like that because it's so different and unique.
It's like a movie, instead of a character study, it's just like 15 character studies in one.
You know what? I'm thinking like I would love to see him take on like a superhero movie or something. Like that would be fascinating. Like
It would be interesting.
because there's a lot of problems. I think this goes back to Spider-Man 3. It's like, they're trying to incorporate all of these villains, all these storylines.
It always goes back to Spider-Man 3.
It always comes back to Spider-Man 3. But I think that why people had a problem with that is because they were trying to tell so many stories within one. But I was like, Christopher Guest succeeds in that. Like he actually does a good job of telling multiple stories.
I see no problem.
What?
I see no problem with that movie.
I do. I mean, it would be really interesting shooting something like, in the Marvel world like that, like you said, because with Christopher Guest movies and that whole crew that does them, like Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, and everyone, they're like very character driven,
right?
Probably because they have an improv background. So like they just, when they are like with the outline, they really just try to figure out who this person is at the core, and then they just like improv on it. Because when like Schitt's Creek came out, Dan Levy was talking about like outlining it with his dad Eugene, and how Eugene for months kept being like, no, we haven't nailed down the characters yet. And Dan was like, we have to move on. And Eugene was like, we have not nailed down these characters. Like everything is based off of this. And it'd be so interesting to like shoot a Marvel movie like that, where you just have actors who are like really into like, who is this person?
Right.
And then let's just like leave room for improv too.
Yeah.
Even if it went bad,
very interesting.
It would be a good movie. It'd be a good, bad movie.
Like okay, here we go. Hear me out. Christopher Guest directed the Fantastic Four, starring the It's Always Sunny crew.
I'd
be into it.
There we go.
I am not opposed to that. That would be but more, I guess I would want It's Always Sunny humor.
I was going to say they might overpower Christopher Guest because they're like too wild. They're like, it's like not as subtle enough humor.
It also took me a sec to realize that Christopher Guest was the director in this movie. Like what played like the actor of the director.
Yeah.
It's funny. I don't know. It is interesting. I mean, I always think about like going back to like movies about making movies. I just want to like be on a set for that, because it's like Inception. Like you're making a movie, but you're like watching that, but essentially watching that. It's so interesting.
That's why I sometimes have a hard time with those though.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, and they're like, that's a cut. All right, that's a wrap. Like
right.
What?
Like I would love to be on set for one of those someday, just to see how it's done. Cause like, I don't know. I feel like it's cheap to make just because you have all the equipment already, and you have this literally took place in just a studio. So, I mean, they probably made this for so cheap.
The best movie about making a movie, though. Thank you for that correction. I almost was going to forget about that.
Disaster.
That's number one. Number two, far number two, nowhere close to Bowfinger, is the Disaster Artist, about shooting the room.
That was good.
James
I need
Franco.
to rewatch that one. I need to revisit that.
Yeah. I mean, I just remember watching with you and like losing our minds. Like when he goes in and they're like, do you want to shoot on digital or film? And he's like, both. And they're like, you want to rent both? And he's like, I want to buy both. And we were just like on the ground.
And then Josh Hutcherson's character was so funny.
So good.
I can't remember that scene. They're playing football or something.
Yeah, they like hit him and they run over and they're like standing over. It's like Peter. Like,
oh
so
yeah,
good. We'll have to revisit that one.
We should revisit that. Would be a good one. Actually, kind of. That'd be fun.
It'd be real meta because there's like we can watch The Room and then watch the movie about making The Room. So
yeah, that's super meta for sure.
Coming up sometime in the future.
Oh, we'll do a Room v Disaster Artist like discussion. That'd be kind of fun if we did like a theme, or it was like the original versus the remake or something like that, or like a based.
I actually kind of have a plan to do that for Home Alone.
Whoa.
Okay, I was gonna say, guys, you last time Joe's picking like a movie and a TV show. Now Joe Cuffney's picking two movies. Like,
it's just gonna grow.
To be fair, Goosebumps is 18 minutes long.
I'm making you guys watch 2 movies.
But we're clearly on a slippery slope here. It starts with the 18.
Okay, you have to watch his music video. You have to watch his interview about the music.
I'm choosing the Harry Potter trilogy, the whole series.
Whole series for one episode.
Yeah.
We cover the whole Harry Potter franchise in 1 hour.
In just 20 minutes. Yeah, they did stuff and whatever. It's fine.
Does Christopher Guest make movies still?
Not that I know of, but
I would love to see like a new version of a movie he makes, like a modern take on it. I mean, still like the mockumentary style, but
let's see, his last directed movie was Mascots in 2016.
Oh.
Spinal Tap, Back from the Dead, 2009.
Interesting.
Video.
I'm about it. I mean, I'm the thing about his movies is like, even though this wasn't my favorite, I still really want to visit his other ones. Just because just the crew and the cast and Christopher Guest as a whole. I get why Jamie Lee went for the Guest Man.
Yeah, that's like, this could be like your favorite celebrity couple.
It's literally slowly growing to become my favorite celebrity couple. It's like not the weirdest celebrity couple. Who's your favorite celebrity couple? It's like you have what, like, I don't even know celebrity couples. You have Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly. You have all these people. I'm like Christopher Guest and Jamie Lee Curtis.
They could do a cool, something in like the horror Halloween world. Christopher Guest and Jamie Lee like team up.
I think about like What We Do in the Shadows, the Taika Waititi movie. It's like a mockumentary about vampires, and I feel like he reminds me of Christopher Guest a lot. Actually, him and Taika and Christopher Guest have very similar styles, which I never thought about until now. So
dude, like a mockumentary about making Halloween.
A horror movie. Oh my gosh, starring Jamie Lee Curtis. This would be so good. All right,
we're just coming up with great ideas on this podcast. Like, producers should just listen to this podcast to get their next big hit.
And here's the thing: I'm not a huge comedy horror fan, as I mentioned a bunch of times. But I feel like if Christopher Guest did a comedy horror, I would watch that.
It would be good.
That would be awesome.
Yes, we'll prepay our tickets. If you make the movie, you got 3 ticket sales,
and then we'll market it as a straight up horror film. No, we'll market it as a superhero movie. So it'll get people to go watch it.
I'm all aboard this.
But I would also love to see, I mean, Chronicle is a superhero film and it's like a found footage style, but I would love to see actually like a legitimate mockumentary style, like superhero. That would be so fascinating. Like low budget. I don't know. I'm kind of about it.
Man, let's make it happen.
Well, we can do it.
We want to rate this?
Yeah, I'll start since I picked it. I'm gonna rate this a 7 jump cuts. You know what? I'm gonna bump it up to a 7.5 jump cuts.
Hey, there we go.
Because this wasn't my favorite, but it wasn't. I mean, it's still fun. I had a great time watching this. Like, if I'm looking for some like random movies to throw on, like if we're just kind of chilling and looking for some laughs, kind of just like chatting amongst yourselves, I would throw this movie, like any Christopher Guest movie, even though I've only seen 2 of them. I would throw any of them on just because I know what I'm going to get. You know what you're going to get. It succeeds in knowing what you're going to get. Like, it's funny. It's got the cameos. It does what it needs to do. It serves its purpose for what it is. And I think it's great. It's funny. And you can't beat Fred Willard. So
okay, we have to do this. Either one, just a party where the theme is any of the Christopher Guest movies, but like, so the theme is for your consideration that everyone has to dress up as a character from it. Or here we go. We steal it and we sell a murder mystery based on these characters. How good is that? Christopher Guest movie murder mystery kids.
That would actually be awesome.
It comes with like a little DV camera.
Oh, yes.
Wait, I love this idea. We need to get in touch with him.
Oh, yeah. Could you imagine like a best in show murder mystery?
Oh my God. Wait.
So good.
I will say, I love the title for your consideration. I think that's a cool title because it's Oscars, Academy. It's got that whole vibe. because like that's what when they mail you the copies of the DVDs or movies, the VHS, it says for your consideration for like the
Oh yeah,
it says that when you get the movies to watch the screeners essentially. But
I didn't put that together.
Yeah,
so for this one, it was probably for your consideration.
Yeah.
More meta stuff, man.
So meta.
But yeah, I mean, and then I think like movies about making movies, I go back and forth. I like them, I don't like them. Depends on what it is, but I'm okay in this setting because it's it's supposed to be that. But I don't know. Yeah, 7.5 jump cuts. But I agree, murder mystery would be sick. That would be awesome.
Be so good. I'll go 8.
80.
880. 8 80s. 8
nice.
8.
It's a lot of 80s.
It's way too many 80s.
Yeah, too many cooks in the kitchen. That's the epitome.
Yeah, man, I always wish I could have good units, but it's just a solid movie.
Helen's in the trash.
Huh?
8 Helens. 8 Helens in the trash can.
I was going to use garbage cans. That was my unit.
Okay, you could do mohawks.
Ooh, yeah. Faux hawks.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Faux hawks.
But it, just classic, always good. Christopher Guest, it's always a good time. Again, it's not my favorite. Like, I think Best in Show is better, but you can't go wrong with this. I always think it's funny when there's like, there was like Jewish humor in the movie they were making, which was like also kind of self-aware part of this weird movie making thing that was kind of funny. But just all good, nothing, bad other than like, I wish it was like slightly more funny, slightly more, like certain areas I wish is more like Best in Show, but you still can't go wrong with this. So just a solid 8.
I do agree that there were some spots for potential more comedy. Like there are some parts that could have been funnier. I do agree with that. And I do wish that they went a little further in like the whole dry humorness. Like I wish they even went further, which is weird because I usually don't say that, but I actually love it in these movies. So yeah, I think you're right.
So to have 8.
Nice.
All right. For me, I'm going 7-1. I was going to go 7-1 on garbage cans, but I think I'm going to switch it to 7-1 seconds too long.
That's a good one. That's like the best unit I think I've heard.
But yeah, it was fun. I don't think it's like my exact genre, I guess, but it was fun. The cast was awesome. I can't complain too much about it. You know what I mean?
Cool.
Yeah.
I do want to say, I think For Your Consideration would be such a great like Oscar themed party. That would be like a title for the party, For Your Consideration. That's such a good title for like a party.
Yeah, I think just title. Yeah. I thought you meant all theme too.
Well, I mean, Oscar theme would be sweet too. But like if you have an Oscar themed party, you could call it For Your Consideration. And I'm like,
Christopher Guest does have a director credit for the 84th Annual Academy Awards in 2012.
Whoa, cool. Has he ever won an Oscar for anything?
I don't know.
Probably not.
What do you mean, probably not?
Because the Academy...
He's won one Primetime Emmy.
For what? Was it the Academy?
Outstanding writing in a comedy, variety, or musical special, the Lily Tomlin special in 1975.
Interesting.
And the AARP Movies for Grown-Ups Awards. He was a nominee in 2007 for Your Consideration with Eugene Levy. He was a nominee for an American Comedy Award in 2001 for Best in Show.
Okay.
He won a Broadcast Film Critics Association's Award for A Mighty Wind in 2003, which I think is another I haven't seen, but I think it's another. It happened between Best in Show and For Your Consideration, A Mighty Wind. 2001 winner, a DVD exclusive award for This Is Spinal Tap.
He did This Is Spinal Tap?
Yeah, 1984.
Oh. I didn't know that.
Yes. Fantasporto Film Independent Spirit Awards, Florida Film Critics Gold Derbies, Gotham Awards, Grammy Awards. He won a Best Comedy Album nominee in 2010 for the album Back from the Dead. So, a bunch of Best Song in My Mighty Wind in 2004.
I have a feeling at some point we're going to end up reviewing all of his movies on this podcast.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
Which I'm okay with. Ooh, and then we could do our favorites, like our top.
I mean, I don't think he has that many, so we could do it.
That's true.
We're already halfway through, so we're good. And unless we dive real deep into we watched the 84th Annual Academy Awards that he was a director.
We review Academy Awards season or something, or
just an award show. Yeah.
That would actually be, we could totally do that. I mean, the Oscars are somewhat coming up, not really, but
it'd be fun, like a live stream.
Yeah, we should definitely do that.
Live stream commentary award shows.
I agree. We have a quick, locations is very, I will say I looked at Robert from Set Jetter. He has, so everything is basically a studio, but on his website, obviously the opening gate is Culver City Studios, where she's driving through and she sees Steve Renazizi's character. And then Catherine Hare's house isn't super far from that. And then everything else is studio. So
all right.
Not too much, but you know what? Thanks for Set Jetter for doing that research. And I will say, he did say if there's a location out there that no one knows, he will find it. So if you have any locations that you have no idea where to find, or you can't find it, Robert from Set Jetter will find it for you.
I want to find where the garbage can is.
Now, where is that current garbage can?
Yes, not the house, the garbage
item. There's probably some weird collector for your consideration collector out there.
It's probably like in some studio somewhere, just
probably
serving as a garbage can. Probably.
Yeah, they don't know the greatness that they have. Too bad there's not an A24 auction.
Oh my gosh, that would be hilarious. But an off-brand, so all just the garbage can from the second shot of For Your Consideration. I do have the taxidermy rack from Bates Motel, so that's kind of fun.
Classic. It's a classic.
It just sits under my futon, but you know what? One day I'll make it into something cool.
It's not allowed to be displayed in the house, but
no,
there's
fake blood on it still, and it is an episode. I think it's episode 2 or 3.
I mean, to be fair though, you don't want to flaunt that you have that, because that's just asking someone to break in and rob it.
That's true.
You're not hey, I have a $50,000 Rolex. It's right here on the counter. You got to hide that stuff.
I was gonna say my iMac and stuff, they're all just prominent here, and that's no, I gotta hide the taxidermy rack that was $25 from the auction from Bates Motel.
Yeah.
That and my Michael Myers mask can't have those stolen.
Nope.
But everything
if
else,
you're listening now, it's not even at Joe's house. Don't try.
I was gonna say anyway, if you're listening, I don't actually have those items, so forget what you heard.
That'd be fun though if we did a instead of having a store on the website, we did a fake a auction A24 does, but for fake items. Replica items.
A replica.
We just buy a trash can. We're this is modeled after the trash can in For Your Consideration.
You just get a tissue. This was the tissue that looked like Jake Gyllenhaal blew his nose, but it's not. But it's a replica.
Jake, I'm not following all this. I got some of the news from D last night, but Jake Gyllenhaal back in the news from Taylor Swift's.
I heard some things about it, but I'm not super. Apparently, Swiftie fans are not happy with him right now.
No, yeah, not good news.
He ghosted her or something, right? Or he what did he do?
He didn't treat her well when they were I guess she wrote a song about him. It sounds like.
If I had a quarter for that, every time I heard that, Taylor Swift. I like Taylor Swift. I do. But I also like Jake Gyllenhaal, so they're both right.
They're both right.
That's how I settle things.
About this, but he's ready to make a conclusion.
I don't need to hear sides, guys.
To be fair, I didn't see it trending on Twitter, so I don't know if it's a real story.
So yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
And I follow a lot of movie stuff. I guess that brings us to movie news.
Anything?
Or I guess we could just change this to news, because general news, because we talk about a lot more than movie news.
We should just do like world events. We're not even so far off base from movies.
Well, for example, the new Spider-Man trailer is supposed to drop on Tuesday, and there's an event happening, and people have spotted Andrew and Toby around the LA area. So there's lots of speculation going on right now. I have a feeling part of me wants to see them in the trailer, but part of me doesn't, just to keep that suspense, because the film comes out in December. So it's not that far
See
away.
them in a trailer like they're just like cameos in the trailer.
They're going to be in the movie. They're going to be in a good part of the movie, apparently. Like, because Tom Holland in the movie, so essentially what the plot is, I don't know. This grain of salt here, because I know as much as I do from reading the internet articles. I'm not a huge comic book person. So anyone out there who's a huge Marvel fan, don't get at me if I'm messing anything up.
I mean, Tom Holland called you this morning, so
this is what I'm aware of. You know how in Far From Home, basically Jake Gyllenhaal's character Mysterio outs him as Spider-Man. He tells everyone who he is, right? So in this one, he goes to Doctor Strange and he's like, "Hey, can you do this spell to remove everyone's knowledge of me being Spider-Man?" With that, he opens the multiverse, which brings in all the villains. No, it brings in Doc Ock, Green Goblin, Electro, and Sandman from all the Spider-Man films, same actors, as well as Toby and Andrew, and maybe Kirsten Dunst,
who are also Spider-Man.
It's literally all of their movies as multiverse, and I don't know. That's all I know. But there's rumors that they're going to be in it. There's a lot of rumors that they're going to be in it, and according to the new poster, like the Goblin's back. Obviously, Willem Dafoe is back in it. Octavius is back in it.
James Franco?
Jamie Foxx is in it. I don't think James Franco's back in it. I don't think he died in the third one. So he's not going to be in this one. But there's a huge so part of me like wants.
It will be interesting to see where that all goes.
It's going to be. They're going to be in. They have to be in it because like
this could be Joe's new favorite movie, man. All I'm saying, he loves Spider-Man.
This is technically Spider-Man 3,
and he loves when they, weave multiple stories in. Yes. Little did he know, be careful what you wish for. They took that to an extreme.
Dude, if they bring back emo Tobey Maguire, I'm gonna lose it.
I saw a meme today where it was like they were all kind of someone photoshopped them all in the black going like this, and someone posted like, I hope the trailer just shows them all dancing like that.
That would be awesome. That would be
honestly. I think they should shoot at least a deleted scene just to have the scene, like just to have it, because that would be so funny. Like people would appreciate that like so much.
I definitely would.
Mm-hmm. But there's also rumors of the little girl who plays Sandman's daughter in the third one. There's rumors of her coming back too. Like there's a lot of rumors going around. So who knows? So yeah. That's some news.
Hey man.
I also will say Jordan Nash, he is a follower as well as a film location creator. He makes videos. He made a My Friend Dahmer video I requested it, but it wasn't for me, but he did mention us at the end of the video.
I watched that video. Yeah.
That's cool. I would definitely go check his channel out. But Jordan's Film Quest on YouTube, Instagram. He's a cool guy. We have an off script episode with him as well. He's great. Check him out.
That's a very cool video.
And he lives in Ohio, I think. So he does a lot of the Ohio locations. But yeah.
My Friend Dahmer.
My Friend Dahmer. One of my favorites. It's in my top 10 of all time.
Whoa. Joe you need to release your top 10.
I want to see it.
I still don't even know, dude. I have to like dive deep into. How about this? One of these episodes coming up soon, I will reveal my top 10.
Please.
Or we could just do an episode. We could all do our top 10.
That'd be cool.
Let's do that. Well, one of us will pick it at some point, but let's do that.
We'll do something. Andrew Garfield, Tick Tick Boom's coming out.
Right.
Or it came out or comes out on Netflix Friday. Mm-hmm. I can't keep track of like official releases with everything, but that looks really good.
No, that's the new Lin movie, right?
New Lin movie, yep. Bizarre, he plays Jonathan Larson, who wrote Rent, who also, I believe, wrote the musical Tick Tick Boom, which this is like the movie version of the musical. But talk about meta, like this being a movie about making movies. this is like a musical about him writing Rent. It's like a musical about writing the musical, and this feeling that he's running out of time, which is Tick Tick Boom. And
hence the title. Yeah.
Yeah. And Jonathan Larson actually passed away the day before Rent started off Broadway.
Whoa.
So it's like
That's
a really
crazy,
weird,
actually.
about
Is this
you've
film
always
about
felt
that? His death too? Do you think? Do you think it'll show his?
Well, I don't know, because I think he wrote the musical Tick Tick Boom about the feeling of running out of time, and then obviously like he wrote this musical, so I don't think his death is part of the music. But I don't know, because I don't know enough about. I
never heard
didn't
of
even
it,
know
but-
this was a musical before.
I'm just curious to see what Andrew Garfield's like in that. Like, I can't even imagine him in like a musical or anything. So
yeah,
I'm interested. I'm intrigued. I'll check it out. I did watch. I started watching the new Chucky series.
Oh.
I know you guys are probably really stoked on that.
Really pumped about the new Chucky series.
Love Chucky, yeah.
It's like not great, but it's not bad. Like, I'm intrigued enough to continue watching it. And it's fun.
What's it on?
It's on Sci-Fi USA, like Sci-Fi, but you can watch it if you have YouTube TV. They have like you can watch like the episodes on YouTube TV, which is what I do. So that's solid. And then there's a franchise called VHS. Like they're found footage anthology horror films. Really solid movies. And the fourth one just came out. It's VHS 94. So it's all like 90s, but it's really cool because there's like 3 or 4 stories in each movie, but everyone's different directors, different writers, and it's cool. A lot of like the directors in those movies, like they ended up becoming like major, quote unquote, major directors in the horror like community. Like it's cool to see like a lot of these horror films coming out, like they did segments on VHS. I don't know, they're actually really good movies. They're pretty gruesome. Some of the segments, but they're like actually like solid horror films. I'm a big anthology and found footage fan, so just combination of everything. Love it.
Sounds good.
Love it.
Sounds good.
I forgot to compare Christopher Guest to Rob Zombie. I was gonna do that, but I completely forgot.
When you started, I feel like some comparison. I forget already even what the comparison was. I was like, oh, this is the Rob Zombie thing.
Yeah. Well, okay. So it's really subtle. It's not even that big, but it's like Christopher Guest uses a lot of the same actors as well as Rob Zombie does the same exact thing. It's like, it's essentially, they're comfortable with the people they work with. They know they'll do a good job. I will say sometimes in Rob Zombie's case, some of them are not fantastic, but I do like to see that correlation because I feel like there's that specific style of like filmmaking where you kind of reuse the same settings or people or whatever. I think that's kind of fun. I like that because like I mean
it's like Wes Anderson kind of.
Yeah, same thing. Oh yeah, it's the same thing. And part of me is like likes it, part of me doesn't, because I was like, oh I want to see other new people in this type of movie, but then again I like these actors. I don't know how I feel about it. I like it. As of right now, I'm about it. So
all right, and then Rob Zombie's a lot like Lin-Manuel Miranda, Tick Tick Boom. So Christopher Guest, therefore, is very much like Lin-Manuel Miranda. So
wait, Tick Tick Boom, Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses almost wasn't released because there was something. He had like a certain amount of timeline to get it done, to get it out there. He had to basically distribute himself. Tick Tick Boom, relation, Lin-Manuel Miranda. It's happening.
My head hurts.
They're all the same person, I think.
I think everyone's the same person.
I think they're all.
I think we're gonna find out that every movie's related.
It's all in the same universe.
I mean, if we're going technically speaking, it is all in the same universe.
It's all in the same world somehow.
But so yeah,
I'm just heavy in TV season right now.
You're in Succession, right?
It's in Succession. Curb Your Enthusiasm came on. SNL's been back. The morning show still getting through.
We watched the Kieran Culkin one. Oh, we watched half of it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
He's so funny.
Yeah.
I didn't know Macaulay hosted when he was a kid.
Yeah, when he was like 8 or 11.
I want to watch that
in
one
1990.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so crazy.
Also, your brother reminds me of a Culkin.
Cody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but
I mean, when he was little, Home Alone was his favorite movie. He used to watch it every single day.
Kind of looked like him when he was like younger.
Yeah, it was the same. It was like that. And then, I think people connected him to Dennis the Menace as well. But it was the little troublemaker kid with like the really blonde bowl cut. Like that was Cody.
Well, he should be on our Dennis the Menace review episode.
Oh, he'd be all about it. But but he'd love Home Alone. It literally was. He has watched that more than like anyone. For a guy who grew into hating movies,
I was gonna say
he loved Home Alone. But what was I gonna say? No, I don't know. But yeah, SNL. Mm-hmm. Oh, and we started the other night that new Will Ferrell, Paul Rudd, Apple TV show. That's like something about the shrink.
Oh, right. How is that?
It could be good. I will keep watching it. I don't know yet, but it's like Will Ferrell and Paul Rudd are hilarious. So it's one of those where I feel like even if it's bad, it'll be fine to watch.
That's true.
But it seems interesting. Like the first 3 episodes just dropped, and then it'll come out once a week.
Speaking of Paul Rudd, named Sexiest Man Alive by was it People magazine?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
And then on SNL, they were like, and the first one in 1938.
I want to know. I want to like be a fly in the wall for those meetings. Like, who's the crew who's like, yeah, Sexiest Man Alive, Paul Rudd. Like, who does that?
I don't know, man.
I love it, but it's
a weird thing. It's a weird flex. That's for sure.
Very strange. I
am the judge of who is the sexiest person. Like,
like People magazine.
My tastes are like gospel.
We talked about this kind of last episode, right? With in Chef about tastemakers and critics.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the same.
It's all the same universe.
It's all the same universe. It's all the same one guy.
Well, here's the thing. People
does
magazine,
all the movies.
Who are the people behind People? Who are the people who started People? What's the people? Who are the people that they named? People is a weird word when you say it a bunch.
This is like people. This is how you start your like cult, man. You're like, yeah, and who are these people behind people deciding who all these people are? And everyone's like, yeah, I think those are good questions.
Should we do a cult watch check?
Cult watch.
Yeah.
Joe, how's your compound doing?
Yeah.
Yes, the compound
has been seized by the FBI.
Someone walks in behind Joe with like a robe on. He brings you food. Thank you.
Like, yeah, we're all good. No call.
Just let me know.
I haven't seen Dean in a while.
No comment.
Okay. My people. I think that's all the movie news for me.
People mad. Yeah.
I think news.
I think we create our own award show next year.
We should. I know podcasts that do that.
And we become the people who decide things.
On consideration.
On edge awards.
Yeah, but it has to be a good like the.
We could do an awards show. We could give out our own awards though.
We should actually do that.
But it has to be a good like the stuff, like the Anis, the like the
locations.
The locations. I feel like it has to add in a Y.
I agree.
Fun.
Yeah.
But comment below. What are
Yeah. Oh, I recently released an off-script episode with Homies of Horror podcast. Would highly recommend you check them out. If you like horror movies, they're fun people. Yeah, great people and super knowledgeable.
What kind of content do they do?
So it's a horror podcast. They just talk about horror movies.
Ooh.
Then they do like Twitch and Discord streaming. They like play horror games and like do live streaming. They're fun. They're cool.
That's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, super chill. But if you like horror movies, if you like podcasts, check them out. Highly recommend it. They're like, I don't listen to a lot of podcasts out there, but they're definitely one I listen to just because like, I don't know. I feel like we talked about this before, but I feel like, listen, it's hard to like, I don't know. For me, it's hard to like start a podcast because like you're so used to the people that you listen to all the time. Like there's like 3 or 4 podcasts that I solely listen to, like, and it's hard for me to branch out. I don't know. It's
You
so
only have
weird.
so much time. Yeah.
It is. It's just weird. I don't know. Podcasts are weird. It's like you feel faithful to some. Like horror movie podcast is like one I've always listened to, and they're great. And like on screen, obviously. No, I'm just kidding.
You like don't realize it's us. You're like, I don't know. I found it. It's great. I love
That would be
those guys.
hilarious. So I was like, yeah, I found this podcast called On Screen.
It just got added to my queue. We're like, that's us. What are you talking about?
I just black out every time I edit it.
You just... I think we'd be really good friends with them. Like when I listen, I think we have a lot of things in common.
Yeah. I don't know where I was going with that, but check out. Oh, I don't know. I would just check them out if you like podcasts, but that's where I was going with it.
All right. Homie's a Horror.
Homie's a Horror. Check them out. They got a cool intro song too.
All about it, man. It's all about those intro songs. Even like with TV shows, man, it's all about that intro.
It is
sequence.
It really is. Which, yeah, yes and no. For like, I get it. I think it can be overdone.
I mean, the amount that goes into those now is insane.
Yes, I like Succession's fantastic. That's one of my favorite openings.
So good.
Music's amazing. I'm talking about like the whole Netflix intro with, what I'm talking about. It's like I'm trying to think. Oh, Westworld. Did you watch Westworld?
I tried to watch it, never got into it.
It's or Daredevil, or I even think Queen's Gambit had it. It's like that. Each it's like animated parts of like. For example, Queen's Gambit, like one, this isn't like a real, I don't know exactly what it is, but like, it's an example. Like it would be like close up of like a CGI like chess piece, and it would just be like floating in space going really slowly. And then the credit would come up and it would switch to a different angle. I don't know. I think that's way overused right now.
Yeah. I love like the Succession, like the old footage. And then what's his name? Nicholas Bertelli or something. The composer, guy's brilliant. The music in that whole show is so good. But even like, I oddly even like the morning show. That's just like dots, but that song Nemesis, I think is great. Just love when that comes on. Like there's certain shows where I'm like, the credits are playing and because of the music and stuff, I'm just like, oh yeah, I love this feeling. Like we're about to start.
Also, the morning show one's very old school. It's like very James Bondy to me, kind of.
It is, yeah.
I like it.
That song, yeah. Benjamin Clement Nemesis. It's good stuff. It made me think of the that Chris Cornell like Casino Royale.
Oh yeah, that one's awesome.
Song that I like started playing again because I
love that. That's one of my favorite like songs too in the James Bond franchise.
Yeah, classic. It's very.
I will say, you guys should check out artofthetitle.com if you haven't checked it out already. It goes really in depth with like titles, like TV shows and movies. It like, they talk to the designers and they explain how they did it and why they did it. And they go in like Emmy nominated ones and all this other stuff. They go in really depth with the title. It's really fascinating actually. So I would definitely check that out. Yeah. It's cool inspiration as well.
I'm just going to pick intro credits next time for my movie. We're not even going to watch the movies. It's the intro.
Dude, we could totally pick like our favorite intro, like credit sequence. That'd be kind of fun, actually. I'd be down with that. I already have a couple in my head that I would talk about, so I'm not opposed. Not opposed. Anything else? Is that a wrap?
I think that's a wrap.
Ain't got nothing.
For your consideration, we will win an Oscar for our podcast.
A potty.